Chapter 12. Liar, Liar. "She just won't stop sobbing," Thelma murmured to me. "Poor girl has had a crush on Jackson Grubbs forever and is too shy to admit it. He's too dense to notice, believing they are just friends. Now he's in jail and she's a fountain of tears." "We need to know if she found anything out from her visit with Jackson," I remarked. "What were you and the detective talking about?" wondered Thelma as we crossed the street, making our way back to the police station. "He doesn't want me to investigate Bart's death," I said blithely. "He was just trying to intimidate me. I refused." "Good for you," nodded Thelma in agreement. "A lady should know when to put her foot down. Otherwise her man will just use her like a doormat." "He's not my man." I gave her an odd look. Thelma raised an eyebrow. "I think he could be if you tried a little harder to flirt with him." I rolled my eyes. "I have a campground to run. I don't have time for dating. Besides, Armand and I are always at odds. We rub each other the wrong way." "You could rub each other the right way," suggested Thelma in a saucy voice. "Thelma!" I was shocked by her flirty suggestion. Thankfully, we came to find Ava sitting with Agatha at her side in a pair of camp chairs on the lawn of the town library, so I didn't have to respond further to Thelma's remark. Agatha was rubbing Ava's back and letting her cry on her. When she spotted me, Agatha smiled. "Ivy! Good! You will know what to do. The poor child is terribly upset." "Ivy," sniffed Ava, blowing her nose delicately in a tissue. "It was terrible." I crouched on the grass in front of Ava and took her hand. "Why don't you tell me what happened?" "They've charged him with murder," a distraught Ava said. "He has to go for some hearing to plead not guilty, then maybe he will get bail. I'm not sure." "Did Jackson know anything about the evidence they have against him?" I gently asked. "No," she sighed. "Just about the poisonous pesticides the police found, which isn't his." I nodded. "Did Bart have an order of food with Jackson recently? Did Jackson remember what that food order was?" "He writes down all of his orders, but the police took his record books," responded Ava. "However, he did remember most of the order he delivered to Bart on Saturday morning before the farmer's market. Bart wanted everything to be especially fresh with Fergie coming." "What was in the order?" I inquired, hopeful that we might be able to trace the poisoned food. "Strawberries, raspberries, the last of the season's rhubarb, honey, apricots." Ava shrugged helplessly. "I can't remember the rest." "Apricots?" I questioned. "Are you certain?" "Yes," nodded Ava firmly. "The season has just started for them. They're the first of Jackson's crop. Soon the peaches will be ready too." I thought back to the picture of apricots which was in Armand's file. Had he taken pictures of all the fruits Jackson had provided Bart, or was there a special significance to the apricots? Something about the picture bothered me, but I couldn't think of what it might be. "Why are you asking about apricots? Are they significant?" asked a hopeful Thelma. "I don't know," I murmured. "There might be some connection. Ava, did Jackson say anything else which might help us solve the murder and get him out of jail?" "I don't think so," admitted a sad Ava. "I'm sorry I wasn't more help. I'm just so terrified Jackson is going to go to prison for a crime he didn't commit." "We are going to find out who did this and free Jackson," promised Thelma. "Don't you worry about it. Ivy knows what she's doing." Well, I appreciated Thelma's faith in me. It was a lot of pressure she was putting on me. "I'll do everything I can." Ava leaned forward, giving me a tight hug. "Thank you, Ivy." I returned the hug. "How about you take the rest of the today just to relax a little and recover from your visit with Jackson? I'm going to talk to Tristan, Bart's brother. Maybe we can all meet up for dinner and discuss our progress." "That sounds like a sensible idea," voted Thelma. "We can go to the Sunken Oak Diner. I'll make sure the others know." "Ava and I will stay right here," volunteered Agatha, "or we can go back to the crafty corner for a while. The protest has gotten a little loud for me." We all knew it was Agatha's way of saying she would take care of Ava without directly voicing it. "Why don't we get a cup of tea at Tawny's Tea House?" asked Ava to Agatha, who promptly agreed. Thelma and I promised to return the camp chairs to the protest. We watched as Ava helped the frail Agatha across the street toward the tea house. Thelma sighed. "They are such lovely people, Ava and Jackson. I certainly hope the two of them can finally realize they have feelings for each other." First, we should concentrate on getting Jackson out of jail, I murmured. Then you can match-make all that you would like. Thelma and I brought the chairs back to the owner. I admired Thelma's efforts on the protest, then excused myself to go speak to Tristan. If I was going to catch him before the dinner hour at the theater, I needed to get there quickly. The Oaks Crossing Community Theater was a great old building which had been made during the town's most prosperous period. It was nearly 100 years old and made of yellow brick with the huge windows, reminding me a little of a church. Plush carpets, cream walls, and polished oak greeted me inside. I stopped at the box office, inquiring whether I might find Tristan Baker. "Oh, he doesn't go by Baker," the clerk advised me. "His stage name is Tristan Towns. He thinks it gives him flair. Plus, he doesn't much like his brother. Excuse me, I mean he didn't much like his brother. You can find Tristan in the main auditorium. The amateur group is rehearsing right now." I thanked him and followed his directions to reach the main auditorium. It was large, with a sloping floor leading to a large stage, professionally lit and decorated as a living room might be, with a few props. A slim man was talking about his woes, describing how life had got him down, and he didn't know how he was going to tell his family what had happened. "Stop!" a man called from behind the front row. For a moment I didn't know if he was speaking to the man on stage or to me. Walking down the aisle, I hesitated. "It's a comedy, Tristan," grumbled the man from the front row. "Not a tragedy. Try not to be so glum." Tristan, who looked nothing like his brother, put his hands on his hips. "It seems very tragic to me. The man is supposed to be the breadwinner, and now he's out of work." The man in the front row looked at his watch. "Let's call it a day and come back to it tomorrow. Good work, everyone." I swiftly approached the stage. "Tristan, may I speak with you?" "Ah, an adoring fan," he said condescendingly, hopping off the stage. "Did you bring a pen and paper?" "Pardon?" I asked, confused. "For my autograph," explained a conceited Tristan. "No." I softened my response with a smile. "I came to talk to you about your brother." An annoyed look flitted over Tristan's face. "I would rather not. If you'll excuse me, I have better things to do." Maybe the brothers weren't very different, I thought. Both of them were difficult people. "It will only take a few minutes of your time. I just have a few questions." "Why?" He cocked an eyebrow. "Why would you possibly have questions? Bart was a rude, selfish man. He made someone angry enough to kill him, and now he's dead. There's nothing to question." "Who do you think killed him?" I asked bluntly. "I haven't the faintest idea, nor do I care," he retorted. "If I knew, I would send the person a gift basket of thanks." "You really don't like your brother," I murmured in surprise. "As I already stated, Bart was selfish and rude," nodded Tristan firmly. "I'm glad he's gone, and I'm not afraid to say it." "I was told Bart had the lead in the play," I remarked, gauging his reaction. "He didn't deserve it," spat Tristan. "That hack couldn't act his way out of a box. Bart just intimidated the director into giving him the part, all because Bart knew I wanted it. Bart was always like that, taking my toys, taking my roles, my stuff, whatever he could get his grimy hands on." "Do you have the role now?" I asked. "Of course I do," puffed up Tristan proudly. "I deserve it. I'm the best actor here. I've been on Broadway." Bart and Tristan were definitely alike, both boasting they deserved everything they wanted. I cocked my head to the side, narrowing my eyes. "Did you kill Bart to get the part?" Tristan blinked in shock. "Of course not. I didn't kill my brother. Like I said, if I ever find out who did, I'll send them a gift for a thank you. I might not have loved my brother, but I certainly didn't murder him." "Did you see anything suspicious on the days leading up to his death?" I asked, persisting. "Did anyone make any threats?" "I'm not my brother's keeper," a haughty Tristan said. "I don't know, nor do I care." "I couldn't help but overhear you," a man interjected. I realized he was the same man who'd been in the front row earlier. I supposed he was the director. "The police have a suspect in custody. Please leave my actors alone. The theater is closing." I sighed in defeat. I wasn't sure I believed Tristan, but the lights were dimming and everyone was leaving. I followed people out. "Hey!" a woman caught up to me, laying a hand on my arm. "I saw you talking to Tristan about Bart." "Yes," I said, curious. "I was." "Look, Bart and Tristan aren't the easiest of people, she stated. However, even as much as I don't like Tristan, he didn't kill his brother. How do you know? I asked. Tristan was in the city last weekend for an audition, she said. He left Friday night and didn't return until Sunday morning. I went with him, hoping to get a part as well. Oh, then he has an alibi, I mused. I wonder why he didn't just say so. He's a bit thick. She pointed to her head and rolled her eyes. Not bad to look at, but not the brightest. Thank you for telling me, I responded. It meant one less person on my suspect list. You're very welcome. Good luck finding the real killer, she said, walking away. I walked to the Sunken Oak Diner. By now I felt I had walked most of the town and was tired from the day's activities. I found Bea, Thelma, Ava, Conrad, and Herb already waiting at the table. Ivy, waved Thelma. We're over here. I gratefully sank into a chair. What's so special tonight? Hot beef dinner with mashed potatoes and peas. The dinner is very good, advised Herb. They also have chicken if you would prefer it. Who cares about food? Bea leaned forward eagerly. Did you find out who killed Bart? I have been narrowing down the suspect list. I took a sip of water. My stomach growled, reminding me lunch had been a long time ago. The chicken dinner was sounding wonderful. We all put in our orders before I continued to explain what I had been able to find out. Tristan has an alibi. It doesn't make financial sense for the landlord Horace Retz to kill Bart. The same could be said for Maurice, Bart's business partner. They were already in the process of removing Bart from the business legally. I'd like to follow up on what they said about their lawyer, but I'm not sure who their lawyer would be or if they would even speak to me. It's likely all confidential information. Why don't we ask Jepson? Asked Conrad. He might be able to dig around and find out for us. That's a good idea, nodded Bea. I also don't believe Fergie killed Bart, I stated. She seemed too upset and was very forthcoming about their previous history. Fergie? Questioned Thelma. From the Food Channel? I explained everything I had learned about Fergie and Bart, how he had gotten her kicked out of culinary school, and how she didn't seem bothered by that fact at all. If anything, she was grateful with the way things had turned out. Who could blame her? She was now a television star, while Bart was being sued by his landlord and soon-to-be ex-business partner. Then who are we left with? Asked Herb. Just the chef at the White Oaks Resort, I shrugged, unless anyone can think of someone else as a suspect. I tried to find out as much as I could, but everyone seems to dislike Bart Baker. Yet no one appears to have hated him enough to kill him, admitted a frustrated Bea. My day was a total waste. No, it wasn't, I assured her. You made certain our suspect pool was correct, and we hadn't forgotten anyone. Either Bart was killed by someone on our list, or by someone we know nothing about. When are you going to talk to the chef at the White Oaks? Inquired Thelma. I think I'll talk to Wanda first, since she was the one who overheard the argument between Bart and the chef. Then I'll talk to the chef, I decided. What if the chef didn't do it? Asked a quiet Ava. What if we can't prove anyone did it? What will happen to Jackson then? Nothing like that is going to happen, honey. Thelma patted Ava's hand. We will find out who did this. Don't you worry. I'm sorry, Ava apologized. I know all you all are trying your best, and I do believe if anyone can figure this out, it will be you. We have a plan, I said soothingly. All we need to do is slowly gather clues, and eventually we will figure out who the killer is. At least, it was what I hoped would happen. Ava nodded, mollified by my response. We ordered dinner, discussing what we would do for Jackson and the next steps of the plan. I would talk to Wanda before approaching the chef from the White Oaks Resort. We would also talk to Jepson to see if he could find out any information about the lawsuits between Bart, Horace, and Maurice. The chicken was delicious, perhaps because I was so hungry. I managed to put away most of the main course and even a slice of blueberry pie for dessert. Full, I leaned back, enjoying the conversation. A thought occurred to me. We should check Tristan's alibi. This got Bea's attention. Definitely. Otherwise it could just be a lie. How? Questioned Conrad. Do you even know what play Tristan auditioned for? Someone will need to ask one of the amateur acting group if they can confirm the name of the play and where the audition took place. Someone different than the woman who volunteered the information on Tristan's behalf, I sighed. It probably shouldn't be me who asks around again at the theater. Tristan made a bit of a scene. I don't think the director would want me back. Was the woman who vouched for Tristan tall with fake blonde hair and too much makeup? Asked Ava suddenly. Yes, I said in surprise. Do you know her? Ava had a grimace. She's Melinda Stratton, a former beauty queen who thinks the whole world rests on everything Tristan says or does. Melinda might lie to protect Tristan. I was a little confused. By her remarks, I got the impression that Melinda didn't like Tristan. Melinda is really good at figuring out what people want to hear, grimaced Ava. She's a master manipulator. Then it's even more important the alibi is checked, I murmured. We need to find out for certain, nodded Thelma. I'll go to the next rehearsal and ask around. I believe it's scheduled for tomorrow. Thank you, Thelma. I appreciated her helping. Soon enough, the group began to leave. I asked Thelma for a ride back to the Happy Camper Resort. Bea, Thelma, and I went in the Mercury back to the campground. On the way past the clubhouse, Bea noted, "Oh, look, the tree is down." Thelma stopped the car, and we could all see the tree which had caused the hole in the roof of the clubhouse was now in pieces on the ground. A pickup truck with wood partially loaded in the bed was parked beside it. Chaz Bison, owner of the Mighty Oaks Christian Campground, was talking to Molly in the fading light. "Oh dear," I murmured. "She's flirting with Chaz." Bea had a snort. "Does she know that he's a Christian?" Thelma giggled. "This ought to be fun." Grabbing my purse, I got out of the car and walked toward the pair. "Hi, Chaz. Thanks for taking down the tree." "No problem," Chaz said as he wiped his sweating face with the bottom of his shirt, revealing a six-pack worthy of anyone who took fitness seriously, before dropping the garment back into place. "We are glad to have the wood for campfires at the campground." "I was just going to offer Chaz a drink," mentioned Molly as she gazed in admiration at the tall, ginger-haired man. "I brought some water," replied an apologetic Chaz, "but thank you for offering. I had better get this finished before dark. I think I can fit it all in one load." "Even if you have to come back tomorrow to finish, it's fine," I smiled as I hooked my arm in Molly's. "Have a good night." "Good night," breathed Molly as I led her away. Chaz was barely out of earshot as she sighed. "Just who is the Irish Cream Dream?" Chaz Bison is the owner of the Mighty Oaks Christian Campground. I put some emphasis on the Christian, hoping it might sink in how unsuitable he was for her. He's an all-around nice guy, and I would prefer it if you didn't get any ideas. "I have ideas," she admitted, a predatory look in her eyes. "Are you willing to reform your ways?" I asked bluntly. "The guy is a dedicated Christian. I don't want you to be his downfall." "Hey," a defensive Molly replied. "Who says I have to be his downfall? Maybe I could become a good woman because of him." I had my doubts that would happen. It must have showed on my face because Molly huffed, taking her arm out of mine. "It could happen, you know," pouted Molly. I sighed. "Play nice." "I always do," she retorted sweetly before heading to her camper. "Good night." I hoped Chaz Bison knew what he was in for and could handle Molly. I knew once she had that particular look in her eye, she would try to pursue the poor man, no matter how inappropriate the relationship. Debating whether or not to give Chaz a warning about Molly, I headed for my camper. On the way, I met Topher, who had a beach chair and a telescope under his arm. "Hey, Ivy," he greeted me. "Just thought I would get up by the lake to do a little stargazing. Would you like to join me?" "Thank you, but I'll pass." I smiled an apology. "It has been a long day, and I would like to get some rest. Have fun looking at the stars." Topher gave a happy nod, pulling out an apple. He grimaced before pulling off a sticker. "I wish they would stop putting stickers on fruit and vegetables at the stores. It's kind of a waste and just ends up in the garbage." "I agree," I murmured. An idea lit in my mind, and suddenly I knew exactly what had been wrong with the picture of apricots Detective Armand had tried to hide from me. They had stickers! "Excuse me?" voiced a confused Topher. I grinned in excitement, and without thought gave Topher a kiss on the cheek. "Thank you." "You're welcome," came Topher's befuddled, blushing reply. I just smiled and headed toward my camper, my steps quick and sure.